We've been doing the tier rankings, and we've already done one half of the what-ifs in Cleveland history. Let's get to the other half with Cleveland sports media personality, Jacob Underwood. And Jake, to start things off, we already started off with the Browns moving in the first half here. Let's go with the other big one, and that is LeBron James leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2010 and taking his talents to South Beach.
If LeBron never leaves, I'm putting that at an A. And the reason why I don't consider LeBron as important as the Cleveland Browns, because the Browns have always been in Cleveland, whereas LeBron has not. But that's just the issue. If LeBron never leaves and you have that commitment from if the Cavs have that commitment from their guy, Mac, I don't know if you remember the trade rumors about us getting Chris Paul or about us getting Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire and all these different players. So maybe then you have Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire instead of Wally Szczerbiak and Joe Smith. And so then that changes the entire narrative around LeBron's career, because at that point he probably does have more championships than he does. And by no means, I know LeBron honks are going to see this, or what are you talking about? He's got plenty of championships. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's not the greatest, but he's one of the greatest right now. But if he commits to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the players that he can bring in the same way that Dwayne Wade committed to the Miami Heat and was able to bring in Chris Bosh and LeBron James, it's a completely different story. I think we have championships out the yin-yang. I think it's a completely different narrative when it comes to the city of Cleveland, and especially the Cavaliers, because you're not dealing with the Comic Sans letter. You're not dealing with the fact that he completely dragged Cleveland through the mud on national television. There's none of that stigma that sticks with Cleveland that the four-letter networks love, because they love to be able to pull that reel out because they know they'll have 10 minutes covered for every hour. So when they can actually look at, if LeBron would have stayed here and he was committed to the team, he committed to the coaching staff, and he was willing to bring his buddies here to play and actually start to build that culture around winning and not LeBron, I think it's a completely different story. And then at that point, he would be considered better than Jordan, because he would be doing it organically, and he would be able to then grow and bring more people in.
Now, Jake, let's switch gears over to baseball, where you mentioned it earlier, but what if the Cleveland Indians are able to secure the win over the Boston Red Sox in the 2007 ALCS up 3-1?
That I rank as an S, because I think that is right up there with the Browns moving. And the reason why is because it is that significant to the franchise and to the city. We would have swept the Rockies, no problem. It would have been easy. And the reason I know that is because I had to go back and look at who was on the Rockies roster, and I still don't remember who was on the Rockies roster, and I looked at it about an hour ago. I have no idea who was on that team. They got hot at the right time, and it just started to peter out there a little bit towards the end, and the Red Sox were there to take advantage of it. I think we should change the wording of it. What if they would have won the ALCS? What if they never played It Ends Tonight by the All-American Rejects, which then got the Red Sox mad? So then they decided that they wanted to go on a run and win that series.
That's a good point. I forgot about that going back to it. But Jake, the other one too, and it comes down to possible championships. But the one that I think is underrated that doesn't get a ton of talk is, what if Iman Shumpert nails the Game 1 buzzer beater against the Golden State Warriors in the 2015 NBA Finals?
I'll be honest, I had that ranked at a D. I don't know if that has much impact. And the reason why is because I think Golden State that year was just one of those teams that were just destined. They had the incredible record. Everything was coming together for them at the right time. And it kind of like how it did for the Cavs in 16. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, just because everything was coming together for Golden State the way that it was. Maybe we win another game in that series, but I still think ultimately we end up losing that series.
So here's my reasoning here. Here's my reasoning for this. So hear me out. When it comes to that jump shot, If he makes that shot, not only do they win game one, Kyrie Irving gets hurt in overtime. So all of a sudden you get Kyrie Irving back at least for game two. And look, even if he gets hurt in game two or game three, Matthew Dellavedova famously had to get an IV drip after game three because of all of the caffeine that he had to drink from covering Steph Curry the entire game. So the Cavs win the next two games, at least in games 2 and 3. So I feel like you could have at least gotten another win possibly out of it on top of that. So I feel like if you're able to do that, you keep Kyrie Irving from being hurt. You also extend Matthew Dellavedova in his playoff run that year. And on top of that, I also think that you have a decent possibility of actually winning that series because you have Kyrie Irving for an extended period.
Well, I don't know if they win it, though. That's the only thing. And the reason why I say that is because Kyrie and LeBron really didn't have that chemistry in the playoffs yet. In the regular season they did, but they weren't used to playing with playoff LeBron yet, that mindset. And I think they had to lose in 15 to be able to win it in 16. And the reason why is because everything kind of came together. That same desire that LeBron had to win a championship came out because of what happened in 15.
And last but not least for you, Jake, what if Jim Brown does not decide to pursue an acting career?
I have that ranked as a C. And the reason why is because Art Modell had a habit of screwing things up, and he would have found a way to screw it up either way with Jim Brown. He bankrupted 2 franchises. He didn't know how to talk to a city to make a stadium work because he wanted to own the rights to every team that was in the city. Because he didn't know what he was doing, so he was losing money all over the place. But anyways, I think Jim Brown was so involved with things outside of football that at year 9 of his career, he's just kind of looking at it going, I've won a championship. What else am I going to do? I'm already the all-time leading rusher. I don't want to say it started getting boring for him, but I think he just kind of was like, all right, it's time to move on to the next thing. So if it wasn't acting, it would have been civil rights. It would have been politics. It would have been anything. I just think that it just got to the point that with Modell pushing him, Jim Brown finally was like, you know what, I'm out. And I think it would have happened either way.
All right, so final recap here for you folks. S tier, we have the Browns leaving for Baltimore. We have the Cleveland Indians winning the ALCS in 2007. The A tier, the 2014 first round of Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel instead of Khalil Mack and Derek Carr or Teddy Bridgewater, as well as LeBron James leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers. In the B tier, we have Trevor Bauer hurting his hand leading up to the World Series in 2016. In the C tier, we have Jim Brown pursuing an acting career. And then D tier, what if Iman Shumpert makes the Game 1 jumper in the 2015 NBA Finals? So thank you to Jacob Underwood, of course, Cleveland media personality. Thank you so much for joining me, my friend. Appreciate the time.
Of course, Mac. Anytime, sir. Anytime.